Welcome to Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam 2021. I'm Eli Yamin, your host, and I'm up here at Jazz Power Initiative's world headquarters in Inwood in uptown New York City, and so glad that you could join us. Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam 2021 is produced by Jazz Power Initiative, the uptown New York City-based nonprofit organization bringing transformational experiences to students and audiences uptown and beyond. And we want to welcome all our friends on Jazz Corner and all our friends at the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, and of course, all our friends at Jazz Power Initiative. This monthly gathering is produced in collaboration with the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, where we enjoy a performance with a featured artist and invite our community to jam. And today, we are swinging into spring with a celebration of improvisation and dance. We are joined by dancers Ximena Salgado, Max Pollak, Mickey Davidson, and Shireen Dickson, along with musicians Jennifer Vincent, Annette A. Aguilar, Frank Owens, and myself, Eli Yamin. We are grateful to receive support from the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, the Hispanic Federation, the Miranda Family Fund, the New York State Council on the Arts, Governor Andrew Cuomo, and the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and individual supporters like you. Well, Shireen Dickson is going to join me now live in the Uptown Jazz Power Studio for a dance improvisation. And we're going to kick things off here with a piece that I wrote inspired by Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman's poem, The Hill We Climb. You remember that day, the inauguration of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris? Do you remember the feeling from that day? Gorman so masterfully captured the moment. The youngest poet and the oldest president set us on a path for transformation. Gorman began, "When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet, the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished." All right, all right.
All
Jazz
right, all
Power
right.
Jam. And it's so great to see Mickey Davidson and Frank Owens. Wasn't that amazing? And they are joining us live now, Frank and Mickey. Wow, 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 wow.
Ooh, the legends, the legends.
That was amazing. And I'm just wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about this collaboration. How is it different than other things that you've done?
Well, this collaboration is a growth from me going to Frank's open mics that Kobe and Rita produced. And on a Friday at 10 o'clock, you never know what the body's going to do. So I would just throw out an idea, and he would have to pick up on the idea and do something, and it was almost time. So we used that time to kind of create a dialogue with each other and sensitize ourselves. So this time, today was the first time we weren't in an open mic. We're in a new space, and we just try not to anticipate anything, to just let the moment be the moment and go where the moment goes. You want to add something to that?
Yes, I could add to that. We sort of feed off of each other, as Mickey had explained, and dare I say that she's kind of controlling? Shall I say that? I won't say that. I didn't say that. But it is, she had told me, because I said, well, what shall I play? And she said, well, nothing, we shouldn't think of anything that we're going to play. It should just be for the moment. And that's why she entitled the piece Exploration. So that's what it is. I'm listening, having heard it back, I said, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I'm very critical of myself, as you know. By the way, Eli, I liked what you played. It sounded like it was in the key of D, like David, but whatever it was very nice. And seeing Shireen dance to it, I have not really heard a lot of your playing, I must say, but it was nice. I hear through Mickey because sometimes she works for you, and I hear what you guys do, And I forgot to mention to you also that I saw you at a place on the west side. I think Ron Claiborne was there. He's a newscaster or whatever. And
That's right.
I saw you at that. That's when I think I first met you or saw you. But in any case, in this particular place, we decided to do it here at the house. And I think that Henry sort of filmed lots of stuff that I'm such a collector of junk and stuff and all memorabilia. And I guess he wanted to show what there was here, So I collect stuff. That's my problem. However, with this piece, and I should stick to what we're talking about, I heard it back, and it's not so bad. I think I always think I could do something different and or better. I probably could have maybe varied the tempos more or the keys more or whatever. Anyway.
I think those are things that in improvisation, and especially with technology now, we can look back, reflect. I know in working, you always think of things you could do better. But in doing something like this, it also can set the foundation for setting like a storyboard or how to use the space first by exploring the space.
Yes, and so fascinating to be in your home, and thank you for opening your home to us and to see all these incredible memorabilia, just kind of a world of theater and dance and music in your home.
And that was Henry.
Just brought us.
When Henry came into the house, Frank started talking to him, and everybody was just talking. So that I realized when you say, let's not pre-do anything, that actually went for the cameraman too. So he set himself
I'm not sure
up.
if we're getting her sound there. I think we might need you to say that again, Mickey.
Oh, so
Mickey, can you say that again? When Henry came into the house?
So Henry came into the house and Frank started showing him around. He told him the stories. So because we didn't set Henry up with parameters either, he became an active participant in the collaboration. So I kind of call it a trio.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can be heard.
Yeah. Anyway, you heard what we said, I hope, anyway. But we don't want to take up too much time because there are other performers that are on the show. So, but anyway, I'm glad I've been a part of it, Eli. Thank you for having, considering that we would do this. So thank you so much.
We want to thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, Shireen, I think.
Thank you. Let's go to our next performer in just a moment. We're going to go to Max Pollak and Jennifer Vincent. But first, I want to invite everyone if you see this Jazz Power Initiative logo here, and you can get a T-shirt with at our store. It's at jazzpower.org/store. And if you'd like to make a donation to support cast of music and dance and jazz, you can make a donation there as well at jazzpower.org/donate. So now, without further delay, Max Pollak and Jennifer Vincent.
Tracy Heider-Suffren, Executive Director of the National Jazz Museum in Harlem. We have, with pleasure, partnered with Jazz Power Initiative and the Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam for over 4 years. Eli Yamin and the wonderful people at Jazz Power Initiative create opportunities for musicians of all ages to gather and make music together. The museum's weekend jam sessions bring together people from all over the world to share in the joy of jazz and to celebrate Black music. Jam sessions don't really work virtually, but I love how we've all gotten creative and improvised to maintain the spirit of our jam session community. Everyone at the National Jazz Museum in Harlem is grateful for our partnership. We look forward to when we can once again celebrate together in person at the museum in Harlem.
All right, Ximena Salgado and Max Pollak dancing with Annette Aguilar on conga and Jennifer Vincent on the bass. Amazing. The Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam celebrating dance and improvisation. I'm Eli Yamin, Artistic Director of Jazz Power Initiative, with Shireen Dickson, who's longtime choreographer, dancer, and board member, even board president of Jazz Power Initiative. So glad to be with you and be joined now by Max and Ximena. So great you could join us. Woo! Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, I love what you guys
Hi, guys.
did.
Beautiful work,
Fantastic.
everybody. Beautiful work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Definitely super inspiring experience.
Absolutely.
How is this different, Ximena, particularly for you? You dance with your ensemble of many other dancers, but here you are solo with percussion. How is that different for you?
It is so different in many aspects. First of all, I'm so grateful to have had such an opportunity. When I work with my company, Rumba Mena, it's a whole different process. I have to listen to the music before choreographing like several times, then get into the space and brainstorm, create some vocabulary, try it in different parts of the music until everything comes together. And then, we go on stage and debut it and boom. But having this opportunity to collaborate with such a genius on the percussion, with so much storytelling and raw feeling in the music, being solo and live, it's a breakthrough, I would say. It felt like a 360 dimension of possibilities, like everything was possible. So it's like immediately inside of myself, there were so many doors opening, and what a luxury to just let that be unleashed, be unfold. I even surprised myself, like watching the video, because I was like, how long I was dancing over there in such an intensity. Like my body went through things that I could not rationalize right now. So definitely a whole different world.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful work. And it's such a beautiful image of these open doors, the open doors of live improvisation. And your interaction with Annette Aguilar was so exciting to have you guys here and to see that kind of interaction. And Max, for you now, this duo with Jennifer has been something you've done before, or is it kind of new in your work as well?
It is new, and it's something that's been long in the making, actually. Jennifer and I have known each other for a long time. In fact, we actually went to the New School at the same time in the jazz program. So we were studying together, basically. But that's years ago. So we haven't done a whole lot in the meantime, off and on several times, but in recent years, a lot more, actually. And we have a lot of mutual friends, and we've always talked about doing something together. Every time we do a gig, with many other people, we always realize, wow, the two of us get along really well musically and personally, so we should maybe do a duo project. So, but you know how life is. Sometimes you talk about things that are a good idea, but you just don't get around to them. And now finally, it kind of happened around New Year's, that we did our first duo concert live stream. And then, thanks to Jazz Power Initiative, here we get another opportunity, and we will keep going with it because we certainly are having a good time. Because Jennifer is an amazing bass player, and she happens to be a tap dancer as well. She dances, and that's one of the reasons why we get along so well, because she knows from her own experience with tap dance and with African dance, kind of my vocabulary, the kind of space that I inhabit artistically. That's why we get along so well.
And were you at the New School as a dancer?
I was at the New School as a drummer and studying just classical music, theory, harmony, music history, and jazz, composition, arrangement, all those things. Yeah.
Interesting. So you both have you both have strengths in. As a dancer, you have strengths in music. She as a bassist. strength in dance.
Yes.
We find that a lot, right, Shireen? That the musicians who collaborate with dancers have a certain sensibility. Would you say? I mean, in your experience, you worked with some really heavy hitters.
Yeah, well, I think that there is an openness, definitely, that dancers always bring to the table in terms of how we explore and the kinds of collaborators we have. And I think with musicians working with dancers, musicians find a liberty that they may not often be used to because of the strict nature of music tending to be fitting in. I guess what I'm trying to say is that musicians often tend to be used to playing in certain kinds of structures, whereas dancers tend to feel like there is more liberty, and playing with musicians helps to make that connection a little bit more freer for both. I know that for me, I have learned to be more rigorous through working with musicians. And I know that when I've worked with musicians, they have allowed themselves to actually move more because of the ways that we've been able to interpret the things that they're playing. So it brings new dimensions to what they're doing as well. So,
Absolutely.
I think I saw a little bit of that in our collaborations that we saw with Ximena and with Max as well.
And
as
with
well
you
as,
and me.
Yeah, and with us, of course, yes. And then, of course, Frank and Mickey. So.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Ximena. Thank you, Max. And thank you, Shireen, for being part of our Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam. Yes, indeed. And now we've got some jammers. We had Tracy from National Jazz Museum in Harlem. She said, jamming doesn't work so well virtually. Well, we're making it work, y'all. But shout out to Tracy at National Jazz Museum in Harlem. We're so happy to be collaborating with you. Shout out to all our friends at Jazz Corner. So glad you could join us. And Lois, thank you so much for your support. But we're going to turn to now some of the submissions we've gotten in the last couple weeks. If you want to be part of this jam next month, you can submit your video, and we've got the information in the chat there. You submit it like the Wednesday before the jam, and we're always here the second Sunday of the month. We hope to be back at the museum next month, but definitely the jam part will be a video submission. So you can submit your video up to 3 minutes. Now we have a bunch of folks from all over the place. First, we've got Kimberly Tiengwa. She is from ZA, Jazz Power Advanced Youth Ensemble, and she's currently a junior at LaGuardia Performing Arts High School. We're going to hear her sing. We're also going to hear Charlotte Zoller from Ellicott City in Maryland. She's an 8th grader, 14-year-old tap dancer, and she'll be tap dancing to A String of Pearls. Enjoy on Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam.
Tall and thin and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. When she walks, she's like a samba that swings so cool and sways so gently that when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. Oh, but he watches so sadly. How can he tell her he loves her? Yes, he would give his heart gladly, but each day when she walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at he. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, he smiles, but she doesn't see. Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes ah. When she walks, she's like a samba that swings so cool and sways so gently, and when she passes, each one she passes goes ah. Oh, but he watches so sadly. How can he tell her he loves her? Yes, he would give his heart gladly. But each day when she walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at he. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, he smiles, but she doesn't see. No, she doesn't see.
All right, all right. Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam from Jazz Power Initiative, Uptown here in New York City. And thank you for all those great jam videos that you've been sending. If you'd like to join us next month, send your video in. The information is in the chat. If you'd like to support Jazz Power Initiative, bringing the community together, transforming lives through jazz power education and community events like this one, you can go to our website, jazzpower.org/donate to make a donation, or just check out the homepage and see all the great things going on. You can also buy a t-shirt at jazzpower.org/store. Well, right now we've got two more folks. The first is a Jazz Power Initiative student, a middle school student. Her name is Savannah Jones. She's going to be dancing to When You're Smiling, and some choreography she learned with her teacher, Mickey Davidson of Jazz Power Initiative. And then we're going to go to Livia from Rumba Tap and Yuval performing from Los Angeles. Yuval originally from Israel, and an Amy Winehouse song. That's coming up on the Jazz Power Jam.
hair was exactly the shade of brown. He's just not as tall, but I couldn't tell. It was dark and I was lying down. You are everything. It means nothing to me. I don't even remember his name. Why you so upset? Baby, you went there, and I was thinking of you when I came. What do you expect? You left me here alone. Oh, I drank so much and I needed to touch. Don't overreact. I pretended he was you. Oh, you wouldn't want me to be lonely. How can I put it so you understand? I didn't let him hold my hand, 'cause he looked like you. I guess he looked like you. No, he wasn't you, but you can still trust me. This ain't infidelity. It's not cheating if you were on my mind. Does he look like you? But I heard love is blind. Don't even remember his name, 'cause he looked like you, but I heard love is blind.
So great to have folks from all over the world, literally France, Finland, Portugal, Spain. Welcome to all of you in Ukraine, Colombia, and Israel. Welcome to the Jazz Power Jam from New York City. I'm Eli Yamin, managing and artistic director of the Jazz Power Initiative, and I hope you'll join our social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, and stay in touch with us at jazzpower.org. Right now, we've got Eliane, who was recorded in her hometown, Brig, Switzerland, with her trio at the Castle Garden. And that'll be followed by Maddie from Texas, from Austin, Texas, performing Monk's Point by Thelonious Monk, Tap Dance. Enjoy from the Jazz Power Jam. Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam from the Jazz Power Initiative in Uptown New York City. So thank you, so many thank yous to everybody who joined our jam today and all our performers, Max Pollak, Annette Aguilar, Jennifer Vincent, Shireen Dickson, Mickey Davidson, Frank Owens, Ximena Salgado. We are thanking you so much for joining us today. If you or someone you know would like to be featured in our next Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam on April 11th, we invite you to fill out the form provided in the chat or located in the description. We hope to be seeing your videos soon and we hope you've enjoyed this show. Thank you to the supporters of the Intergenerational Jazz Power Jams. That's the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, the Hispanic Federation, the Miranda Family Fund, the New York State Council on the Arts, Governor Andrew Cuomo, and the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and individual supporters like you. Please visit us online at jazzpower.org and join our mailing list and social media. We look forward to seeing you the next time on Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam. But we've got one more song for you from Angie Pastor, who's from our ZA Jazz Power Youth Group. This is the most advanced group we have. Angie is now a junior at City College, a jazz vocal major. She started with us when she was in 8th grade. She'll be joined by Oliver Glenn performing one of our favorite songs, Love You Madly, by Duke Ellington. Thank you so much for joining us on the Intergenerational Jazz Power Jam. Woo! You can clap.
Love you madly, right or wrong, sounds like the lyric of a song. And since it's so, I thought you ought to know I love you madly. Better fish are in the sea is not the theory for me, and that's for sure. Just like I said before, I love you madly. If you could see the happy you and me, I relax and wait for fate to let me see the day you say to me, I love you madly. If you could see the happy you and me, I dream about so proudly. You know, the breath of spring that makes me sing my love song so loudly. Good things come to those who wait, so just relax and wait for fate to let me see the day you say to me, I love you madly. I love you madly.